Got too many common and uncommon wildcards and don't know how to spend them? Well, you've come to the right place. Here are some fantastic and evergreen additions to your deck. Oh hey, it's Geb. Welcome back everyone, the name's Geb, and today we're going to be looking at some of my recommendations for your collection that are not only popular in the meta right now, but I think are going to be staples in future metas to come. The way I broke this down was as follows. 1. I only took cards which are present in over 5,000 games in the past week. This is to make sure that the card is popular enough for people to craft. 2. That the cards were present in more than one archetype. This makes it so that the card isn't too niche or isn't too specialist for you to then craft and include, so that you can make multiple options for deck building in the future. 3. That there are common and uncommon in rarity. This is because this is the most amount of wild cards you get, and it's also the fact that rare cards and mythic rare cards tend to be a little more specialized in general. Perhaps I might cover a video of what mythic rares and rares to craft in the future, but for now we're focusing on common and uncommon. And 4. They are only present in decks with an above 50% win rate in platinum rank or above. This is to make sure that the card quality is pretty good to actually craft. If these 4 areas are satisfied, then I believe that this is a card worth crafting all by themselves. In this video, and for the sake of time, we're going to be looking at the sets for Wilds of Eldraine, the Lost Caverns of Ixalan, and Murders of Markov Manor. Other sets that are in standard will be coming in later videos, so be sure to subscribe so you can see them right when they release. First, let's start with the Wilds of Eldraine set, and the first card I'll highlight is Torch the Tower, which reads, Bargain. You may sacrifice an artifact, enchantment, or token as you cast this spell. Torch the Tower deals 2 damage to a target creature or planeswalker. If this spell was bargained, it instead deals 3 damage to that permanent, and you scry 1. If a permanent is dealt damage by Torch the Tower would die this turn, exile it instead. This is an instant for 1 red mana. This is the gold standard for flexible modal 1 mana red removal at common. The base rate of 2 for a red is already playable in aggressive decks, see Shock, to clear small blockers, and the bargain mode elevates it to a premium status, turning it into a Shock Plus that also fixes your next draw. The exile clause is also a critical piece of text in a format full of recursion and creatures with die triggers. And this is why its versatility makes it so that it appears everywhere. In VV Cauldron and Boros aggro decks, it's a way to cheaply remove low-cost creatures, and in a pinch, for decks which feature red with many tokens or disposable artifacts and enchantments, you can use the bargain, which will give you a little extra push and card filtering. An all-around great card and an automatic craft. Sticking with red, we have Witchstalker Frenzy. This is a 3 mana and a red mana for an instant, but this spell costs 1 less for each creature that attacked this turn, and then Witchstalker Frenzy deals 5 damage to that target creature. This is one of the most brutally efficient red removal spells ever printed at uncommon. In any deck that attacks early and often, this will consistently not be 3 and a red, it will consistently be just a red or at most 1 mana and a red, to deal 5 damage. Killing almost any relevant threat for 1 mana is absolutely absurd and can completely swing the game. A staple in many mono-red aggro decks and Boros decks currently, this card loves to be in a deck which features a large number of haste creatures due to its mana card reduction. A card that fits perfectly into most aggro archetypes. And lastly in this set we have Royal Treatment. This card for 1 green mana, again an instant, target creature you control gains hexproof until the end of turn, create a Royal Roll token attached to that creature, and the Royal Roll token reads, if you control another roll on it, put that one into the graveyard, the enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and ward 1. This card is deceptively powerful. For a single green mana, it's a combat trick, a protection spell, and a permanent +1/+1 buff with ward, all in one. In decks like Selesnya Rabbits and the various landfall decks, these strategies revolve around protecting key creatures that generate value. This card does that perfectly whilst also growing your threat. It's a low investment, high impact spell that protects your must answer threats early and often. Now we go on to the Lost Caverns of Ixalan. And moving on to some black cards now. We start with Bitter Triumph. For a 1 mana and a black instant spell, there is an additional cost to cast this spell. You either discard a card or you pay 3 life. But For what it does, it destroys a target creature or planeswalker unconditionally. This is the most efficient, unconditional hard removal at common. The cost is harsh, sure, a choice between card disadvantage or a significant life payment, but the flexibility is what makes it stand out. It answers any threat, anytime, and the pilot gets to choose the least painful cost for the situation. It is premium removal for any black-based controlling or mid-range strategy, such as the mid-range or Esper Mill, which are designed with life total leveraging in mind. It also really fits nicely with Reanimator decks, as discarding a card from your hand often has an active benefit because you can discard your big creature and then just bring it back out from the graveyard. Next, we have Deep Cavern Bat, which is a 1 mana and again a black for a 1/1 bat creature. This creature has flying and lifelink, and when it enters, you can look at your target opponent's hand. You can then exile a non-land card from it until Deep Cavern Bat leaves the battlefield. Which, honestly, this is pure undiluted value. A 1/1 flyer with lifelink is, on its own, a relevant early play. But with the enter the battlefield effect is what makes this card an autocraft. It's a targeted discard that also provides perfect information from your opponent's hand, all stapled into a creature that must be dealt with to get the discarded card back. The tempo loss from your opponent is staggering for a 2-drop. A multi-role giant that fits into Dimir mid-range to disrupt the opponent's curve, Oars off life gain to help trigger synergies, and Mono Black Demons as it goes directly into Unstoppable Slasher, all while removing any potential threats to that key card. What more could you ask for? And speaking of life gain and bats, we also have the Ruin Lurker Bat. For a single white mana, again it's another bat creature. It's a 1/1 with flying and lifelink, but instead of forcing your opponent to discard one card, to exile one card from their hand, at the beginning of the end step, if you've descended this turn, scry 1. You descend if a permanent card has been put into your graveyard from anywhere. This is a strict upgrade in life gain decks to Healer's Hawk. It's a core engine piece for life gain archetypes. It applies pressure, it gains life to enable your strategy, and filters your draws to find your key payoffs should the opponent remove a creature from the board. It is the definition of a synergistic glue card. And the last card to consider from this set is Spyglass Siren, which is a 1 blue mana Siren pirate creature with which is a 1/1. It has flying, and when this creature enters, create a map token, which the map token reads: for 1 mana, tap and sacrifice this token. Target creature you control explores, activate only as a sorcery. When exploring, you reveal the top card from your deck. If it's a land, you put it directly into your hand. If it's not a land, you give the creature +1/+1, and just that's the next card in your that you're going to draw. This card is a low opportunity cost engine. A 1/1 flyer is reasonable, but the map token it provides gives immense long-term value. It turns any unused mana into a potential card filter and a permanent stat boost, ensuring that you have meaningful plays every single turn. An ideal 1-drop for decks like Dimir Midrange and Esper Pixie for its premium levels of value for its mana cost. Now, finally, we are at the mana. Shockingly, we look at the only multicolour card in these 3 sets, that being Lightning Helix, which is an instant spell for 1 red and 1 white, and it reads: Lightning Helix deals 3 damage to any target, and you gain 3 life. Quite a simple card, but this card is the benchmark for efficiency. The combination of removal and life gain for only 2 mana at instant speed represents a massive tempo and life swing. It's almost never a bad card draw, functioning as premium removal against aggressive decks, and a reach spell against control. It is one of the definitive reasons to be in Boros colours. But it can also fit into Jeskai control as a cheap stabilizing tool that ensures your survival into the late game. Overall, a really good card for multiple deck archetypes. The mana also comes with an Escape Tunnel, which is a colourless land, which reads: tap, sacrifice this land, search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped and then shuffle, or you can also sacrifice this land to give a target creature with power 2 or less can't be blocked this turn. We don't particularly care about the second one, we more care about the first one. This fetch land is a staple in pretty much all the landfall decks that are out at the moment. The act of sacrificing a land to fetch another land triggers landfall abilities, turning the utility effect into a direct board power-up, which is often an auto-include into all of these decks. And as we're wrapping up soon, I want to say a long goodbye. This card is a 1 mana and 1 black instant spell which reads, this spell can't be countered, this includes the ward ability, destroy target creature or planeswalker with mana value 3 or less. This is a bit more of a meta-specific card, but a really, really effective one. The can't be countered clause is the entire reason for it being an autocraft, allowing it to bypass the ward ability and to punch through counter magic from control decks. Its restriction for mana value 3 or less is perfectly calibrated to hit the format's most efficient threats and engines. It's best suited as a specialized tool in black-based control decks such as Dimir Midrange and Sultai Control. But wait, I have one other multicolor card I need to mention. But don't worry, this is the last one for now. I'll tell no more lies. This is a instant spell for 1 white and 1 blue, and it reads counter target spell unless its controller pays 3. If that spell is countered this way, exile it instead of putting it into the graveyard. This is the premier hard counter for controlling decks. While other counters are cheaper, the exile clause is critical in a format filled with recursion and graveyard synergy. Looking at you, VV Cauldron decks, it cleanly and permanently answers problems, a cornerstone card for Azorius Control and Esper Mill in the current meta. And that's all the cards I recommend for now. Let me know what cards are instant crafts for you in the comments. I put a lot of research and effort into these videos, so if you would drop a like and subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. Otherwise, I'll see you all very soon. Bye bye.